Hello and welcome to Medical Terminology. This is Chapter 1, Introduction to Word Parts and Word Part Construction. So medical terminology is basically like learning a different language. So for those of you who maybe know more than one language, there's parts of how you learn medical terminology that are going to be a little easier for you than your classmates. You need to learn the different word parts, how they fit together, and then what all the definitions are of all the words. I'll talk to you a little bit about how you're going to master these words, but one of the best ways is by using flashcards. You can use paper flashcards or you can use a flashcard application like Quizlet, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But let's go ahead and get started. So your learning objectives are to use the techniques of programmed learning in frames, to be able to apply the phonetic pronunciation guides that are used in the frames, and to recognize that medical terminology has both constructed and non-constructive terms. Also to identify each of the three word roots, prefixes, and suffixes used to construct medical terms, to identify the function of a combining vowel that is added to a word root to form a combining form. And finally, to recognize that many medical terms are constructed from word parts and can be deconstructed into their word parts. That's helpful to be able to pull them apart and kind of see what makes up that word. So the programmed learning approach. The textbook we're using teaches you medical terminology by using a friendly technique of programmed learning. So this technique has been used for many years to teach many subjects such as math, world languages, and of course medical terminology. It consists of blocks of information known as frames, which contain one or more blanks. The blanks are provided for you to write in the missing word. So in some cases, the missing word is easy to determine, and in other cases, it becomes more of a challenge. In either case, the missing words is provided in the left margin of the frame. So you don't have to feel frustrated if you are having trouble identifying or spelling a missing word correctly. So each frame consists of that block of information. So this isn't your typical textbook. There's no big chunks of text. Rather, it's has the little paragraphs or the frames that have the blanks, and it's meant for you to fill them in and work through the information. So you write the missing word in the blank as you proceed from frame to frame. You want to work without looking at the answer first, though, to make each frame a challenge. You can fold over the side of the page so that you can't really see um, uh, what that answer is. Or for those of you working off of an e-text, put a piece of paper over that part of your screen on your iPad or your Kindle or your laptop, whatever you're using to read from. Always check your answers before moving on to the next frame and double check your spelling. Spelling counts in medical terminology. If you misspell a word, that's going to be a problem. You don't want to do that. We're also going to talk about pronunciation. Um, Super important, so we'll work on that. Syllable emphasis, and then I'm going to teach you how to use the website and the student resources that are available to help you with pronunciation. Medical terminology is a language for medical health professionals. This language has rules of grammar, spelling, and pronunciation, just like any other language. Because medical terminology is the universal language of medicine, its terms have to be understood by speakers of many languages in many parts of the world, especially in our age of globalization. For the purpose of learning the language of medical terminology, terms in this specialized language can be separated into two main categories: constructed terms and non-constructed terms. Many medical terms are constructed terms, which are made up of multiple word parts that are combined to form a new word. In most cases, the word parts are derived from Latin and Greek. The key to learning constructive terms is to first learn the meaning of the various word parts. It may be helpful to think of constructed terms as if they were written in code. Once you have the key to a code, it becomes a fairly simple process to decode the message or to use the code to form simple messages yourself. Similarly, once you learn the meanings of the individual word parts, you have the key to the medical terminology code. These are some examples of some constructed terms. The term pathology is constructed of the word patho, meaning disease, and logy, or the study of. Tonsillectomy, tonsilo, meaning tonsil, plus ectomy is surgical excision of or removal. Neonatologist is a constructed term. Neo means new, nato is birth, and logist is one who studies. So a neonatologist is a person who studies new birth or new babies. The next set of terms we're going to look at are non-constructed terms. Non-constructed terms are terms that are not formed from individual word parts. Non-constructed terms include eponyms, which are terms derived from the names of people. For example, eustachian tube is an eponym because it is derived from the name of Bartolomeo Eustachio, who first discovered this tube between the throat and the middle ear. Other forms of non-constructed terms include acronyms, which are words derived from the first letters of words in a compound term, such as LASIK, that stands for laser-assisted in situ keratomiliosis. My pronunciation isn't that great either sometimes. The words derived from languages other than Greek or Latin, such as jaundice, which is derived from the French word for yellow. So to learn non-constructed terms, you have to commit them to memory. So here's some examples of non-constructive terms. Impetigo, coma, Cushing syndrome. So obviously these aren't words that are put together of several different parts of a medical term. These are just words, non-constructed, and in order to master them, we just have to memorize them and what they stand for. So a constructed term is they're composed of more than one word part. And then the non-constructive terms are terms you have to memorize. They include terms that are a single Latin or Greek word, an eponym, an acronym, or so on. So word parts. There are three primary types of word parts: prefixes, word roots, and suffixes. The prefix is the word part that's affixed to the beginning of a word. Its purpose is to expand or enhance the meaning of the word. Let's look at an example of a prefix in action using the word construction. In our sample word, con is the prefix. It means with, together, jointly. Notice the hyphen following the prefix. You will know that as a word part, that the word part is a prefix by the hyphen that immediately follows it. The word root is a word that provides the primary meaning of the term. The word root provides the basis for the term and is the part to which other word parts are attached. Nearly all terms have a word root, and some have more than one. In our sample word construction, struct is the word root. It means make or build. Finally, the suffix is a word part that's affixed to the end of a word. The suffix often indicates the word's part of speech, noun, verb, adjective, adverb, etc., or it modifies the word's meaning. In our sample word, construction, the suffix is ion, which indicates that the word is a noun and it means process. You will know that a word part is a suffix by the hyphen that immediately precedes it, for example, ion. So here you go. Ion refers to means process, plus con, meaning together, plus struct, meaning to build, equals the word construction when you put them in the right order. The prefix has to go first, the word root in the middle, suffix at the end. Not every medical term has all three parts. Many medical terms have more than one word root, so word roots can be combined to form a different word. Some medical terms are made simply of a prefix and a suffix, and no word root. And a fourth word element is that combining vowel, which we will talk about. So the human body has many of the combining forms. Cephalo, meaning head. Encephalo, meaning brain. Osteo, meaning bone. Musculo, muscle. Poto, foot. Lots of combining forms. Every body system has them, and you're going to learn a lot of them. They're going to be the key to learning medical terminology. The other key to understanding medical terminology is the combining form. So it's the most common combining vowel is the letter O. You need to use the combining vowel properly, and the combining vowel connects the word root with a suffix that begins with a consonant. The combining form, then, is the constructed medical term using the combining vowel that unites two word roots. Origin of medical terms. Most medical terms came from Latin and Greek. The ancient Greeks are considered to be the fathers of modern medicine, and the Romans advanced medicine with their own experiments and observations and added Latin terms to their growing body of medical language. We'll watch a video that talks about where medical terms come from and why they're important. Sometimes the origins of medical terms relate to history, poetry, mythology, geography, physical objects, and ideas. There's Hippocrates, the Greek father of medicine. So here's some word roots from Greek and Latin. Lithos is Greek, meaning stone. A common medical term example is cholelithiasis, condition of having gallstones. Derm or derma is Greek for skin. Dermatitis, inflammation of the skin. Forming words from word parts. So a prefix usually requires no change when another word part unites with it to form a new term. And here's some common prefixes. Anti, Brady, endo, epi, neo, pre. Anti, meaning outside. Brady is slow. Endo is in or within. Neo, new. Pre, before. And here are word parts with that word root or combining vowel. Appendo, appendiso, those mean the same thing, it's appendix. Bio, cardio, cerebro, dermato. So dermato or dermato, dermatology, the study of skin. Here's some more. Electro, encephalo, gastro, hemo, hepato. Hystero, laryngo, leuco, mammo, and masto. Mento, nato, neuro, patho, and procto. Neuro means an itis, neuritis. Neuro means nerve. Itis means inflammation. Neuritis, inflammation of a nerve. Psycho, rhino, tonsillo, vaso. And then we have suffixes, word endings like l, ectomy, emia, gram, ia, iatry, ick, itis, logist, logi. Pathy, philia, plasty, scope, and tick. Procto plus scope. Procto meaning rectum or anus. Scope meaning the instrument used for viewing. Gives you proctoscope, an instrument used for viewing the rectum or anus. So in conclusion, medical terms are deciphered by breaking them into word parts, then defining first the suffix, then the prefix, then the word roots or combining forms. They're made up again of the prefix, the word root or combining form, and the suffix. Most common combining vowel is an O. Infrequently used combining vowels can be A, E, I. Retaining the common vowel and dropping the combining vowel are things that we have to learn when it's appropriate to keep them, when it's appropriate to drop them. And you'll get used to that as you learn the words throughout these chapters. Here's a little quiz. Bio means life. Gastro is the combining form for stomach. Masto is the combining form for breast. You got it. Hepato is the combining form for liver. And vaso is the combining form for vessel. Good job. That concludes Chapter 1, Introduction to Word Parts and Word Construction. Stay tuned for more medical terminology fun.